My name is Colin Craveiro, and I'm the lead singer of Cassady. Before Cassady, there was a band called Man-Made Lake. It was my personal passion project, and I was the lead main singer-songwriter for it, but I had some incredible collaborators and dear friends that worked on Man-Made Lake with me. Joseph and I, from Surkeus Records, were sort of talking about, and have had many wonderful, beautiful talks over beers, just about our history as artists. And I talked a lot about Man-Made Lake. And when I was signed to Surkeus Records, I was signed through Cassady. And Man-Made Lake was a huge part of my life. It was a 10-year passion project that I just felt like never really got to see the light of day. We didn't know how to do it back then. We did some really awesome things. Like we got to, play with a lot of incredible bands, and we got to be Zone Band of the Month and do some pretty cool stuff, but we still just didn't have a clue. So I figured, you know what? Why not give some of the B-sides and some of the origin story a bit of life? Man-Made Lake started back in the day with my dear friend Sean Morton, Nate Bailey, Brent Goss, and we would basically use the old program, and I know they still use it today, but there was a program called Audacity, and Audacity was a really lo-fi, easy-to-use recording software that we had zero idea on how to record, and it literally became the focal point of our 20s. We literally spent all of our time recording lo-fi indie rock or indie outsider music or anything you want to describe through Audacity. And we would just pass song after song around, or we'd meet up and hang out, get ourselves a bottle of something good to drink and some beers and some weed, and then we just record. And some of these B-sides that are going to be on this little album that we're about to put out are actually from that time period. So that's kind of how it started. I grew up. Back then, I had this sort of unknowing as to why I was making art, why I was creating music. I think deep down, I attached it to the hope that I would get famous or be some kind of like counterculture hero, when really, in fact, I was just a guy with severe mental health issues who just needed a way to express myself. So ultimately, that's kind of the difference now. I can acknowledge that and use Cassady as a vessel for healing, where when I was younger, it was a vessel for exploration. And what was really important about doing the Man-Made Lake project back in the day was it really helped highlight a lot of the things that I knew I needed to work on with myself. Okay, good question. Going back to the Man-Made Lake days is a hugely mixed bag. I had a lot of drug and alcohol issues in those days, and I was also wrestling with my sexuality. So what I did was I used Man-Made Lake as a way to disguise my cries for help. I would sing about my yearning for love and acceptance and my queerness as a young man, and also talk about my drug use and my alcoholism. And at the same time, I loved that I had Man-Made Lake as a vessel to do that, because I think so many people today don't have any kind of way to express themselves outside of just doing the drugs and just drinking and just following through with very self-abusive behaviors. So I was very lucky to be able to explore my own self, my own soul, my own heart, my own spirit through that. So when I look back on it, it makes me feel nostalgic. It makes me feel scared and sad, but then it also makes me feel really triumphant at what I've sort of overcome. And I also feel like a deep sense of like yearning to like go and put my arm around myself and say, it's okay, buddy. You're so loved. You're going to be all right. You know, you're going to be all right. And it also brings up fond memories of just beautiful brotherhood and connections with, you know, artists and different people that were a part of this along the way. So yeah, I definitely have fond and also difficult memories looking back. Well, I think I kind of touched on that in the last, but I'll add a little bit to it. I would say to stop caring so much about how I looked, how I was perceived, and how people are going to perceive my music, and just go straight to the juice, right? Like, I was so, not in the beginning, I was all into like being, you know, hipstery, outsider, whatever. And then I sort of went like, okay, well, this isn't working. So what if I start, you know, becoming a little bit more this way? And then I just spent Man-Made Lake going this way, that way, this way, that way. I would say that if I could go back, I'd remind myself to not venture away from what got me going in the beginning, which were those beautiful days sitting at the computer with Audacity on and a microphone resting on a pillow as I tracked my $100 shitty guitar and then tracked my vocals over top and doing it through a cheap microphone that was probably $30 at Long & McQuaid. And I would just literally do that. And I would say that was okay. That was enough. Because there's, I'll butcher this saying, but I'll give you the idea of it, is it's a Tibetan saying, I think, but it's not the transformation of the experiencer that matters, but it's the transformation of the creator that matters most. Now, I added some spice to that, but that's the gist of the quote. I would tell myself that quote. I don't have a number offhand as to how many of them are unreleased, but I would say the majority of them. I know there's a song on there titled Freeway and Of We that were released on, I think, the self-titled EP, but it was basically not even released. Like, I think we definitely did a music video for them, for one of them at least, and put it on YouTube, but really like released, nothing was really ever released. And that's partly why I want to do this, because even when I was doing Man-Made Lake, we got some songs on the radio, but we were never on any record label and we did everything ourselves. So I want them to just be beacons of hope for other artists that are interested in the catalog of what I've done and who look at what I'm doing and say, hey, cool, he just released a B-side record. How did that journey begin for him? And then, you know, compare it to where I am now. So I think that's the main thing. We didn't have label interest at the time. And I didn't know how to get label interest. So really at the end of the day, it was impossible for me to really do that or find that. So that's why they weren't released, and I think releasing them now, I have more built-in pathways for people to listen to this music. So basically, ultimately, Man-Made Lake was a passion project that I started unknowingly to heal. And today, Cassady is my, I'd like to say, wisdom being expressed through story, through fiction and nonfiction, and poetry. I've always wished I was a writer, and I could never really write that well, but I could write poetry and I could write songs. And so Cassady is sort of a surrendering to what I can do and what I can do well. The Sale Cassady Pieces of Hearts taped to poems of the Occult, Man-Made Lake, and the B-Sides Volume 1 album is a collection of B-sides, unreleased music, and some sort of released songs that reflect a very different time in my life and document a very long and passionate journey that I'm very proud of at the end of the day. My role in all of this ultimately was chief singer-songwriter and maybe instigator of these bands that I have created, and much to maybe some of my friends' chagrin, have come in and out of, and are still some of which are a part of it today. Nate and John and Aaron. And of course, the whole band I have now, I love, and a lot of them have been in it for a long time. But still, since the very beginning. And so my role was to sort of harbor talent and passion in humans and sort of bring it together. People should listen to this album because it's fun and it's old school, and there's magic to the origin stories to all artists. We can't get enough of documentaries on YouTube about, how Ernest Hemingway started writing, or Hunter Thompson, or Charles Bukowski, or Virginia Woolf, or Sylvia Plath, or how Nirvana started, or how Bikini Kill, or go through all the bands, or Sonic Youth, The origin stories of bands are so fun and exciting, and we all love them and we want them. And I think it's really cool that I just get the opportunity to have an origin story out there, even if only 20 people are ever going to know about it. But I'm really happy that at least it's out there, right? And I also just want to mention, lastly, that I'm also really excited to announce that John Flatman, who, by the way, is a mogul in the Victoria music scene for demo recording people's records, for making music videos, for making documentaries for local artists, and working with record labels and different various groups, has been working on a documentary about Man-Made Lake and Sale Cassady now for, I would say over a decade, but really been putting the rubber to the road in the last few years. But he has more clips, videos, unreleased stuff I forgot I made, songs. He's got hundreds of songs I've written and recorded with him that I don't even remember. I don't even remember writing them or recording them or even singing them. And I hear them back and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even remember that. So I'm really excited to announce that John is going to be releasing a documentary. Do we know an exact time? No, but he is working his ass off on it. And it'll be a very long, big, and inspiring piece of artwork of his own, kind of representing a collage of not only his ability to, bring things together, but also my art and various artists connected to me over the last 10 to 15 years. And it's really special to have a dear friend. I love John dearly. He's a brother to me. And to have a dear friend like him document this journey for so long has been a really special time capsule for not just myself, but for a huge group of people. And I love him dearly, and I really appreciate what he's done. So that'll be coming out. Look out for it, everybody, because it's going to document the origins. It's going to go through China times. It's going to go through coming back to Victoria and then meeting him. John, we met up with John not even a few months after coming back from China. And he quickly ended up joining the band and recording and being a part of us. And it documents all of that. And there is just hundreds, if not, I don't know how many hundreds of hours of unreleased and saved up footage of those very powerful, very special days. And I'm really excited for all of you. And thank you to Joseph Mieto from Surkeus Records for being such a beacon to help really bring us together and keep us on task, and also do this release with me. I'm super excited. I hope that you all enjoy the Sale Cassady Pieces of Hearts taped to poems of the Occult, Man-Made Lake, and the B-Sides Volume 1. Thank you so much. Early December, around December 6th, we will have this released. I cannot wait to share this B-Sides album with the world. I love you all. Thank you. Mwah.